Welcome, you're watching Vox News, your daily evening news with Rita Kamkumo. Our headlines today: Burundi's newly elected president Evariste Ndayishimiye took office this Thursday after the sudden death of his predecessor, Pierre Nkurunziza. Tanzanian President John Magufuli is officially seeking a second term in the upcoming October presidential election. Malawi's outgoing president, Peter Mutharika, is getting ready for next week's presidential election rerun, despite a new controversy. Our top story today: Burundi newly elected president Evariste Ndayishimiye was sworn in as president of the republic this Thursday in Gitega, 2 months ahead of the expected date following the sudden death of his predecessor, Pierre Nkurunziza. The new head of state is facing multiple challenges. Among the most urgent ones is the management of the coronavirus pandemic, as the country has taken few measures to combat the virus compared to other African nations which imposed lockdown and curfews. Ndayishimiye, who promised to make the eradication of poverty and development of the country his priorities, will be expected to move to action. The new president must also work towards unifying his country, divided by a 12-year civil war, which ended in 2006, and by several deadly political crises, the most recent of which took place in 2015. In Tanzania, President John Magufuli announced on Wednesday that he will seek a second term in the upcoming October presidential election. President Magufuli, in power since 2015, picked nomination forms at his party's headquarters in the capital Dodoma, a day after he announced the dissolution of parliament, paving the way for the holding of presidential and parliamentary elections. The president promised free and fair elections on Tuesday after the opposition denounced a climate of violence and intimidation ahead of the polls. In Malawi, hundreds of people, including lawyers, marched in the streets of Lilongwe and the cities of Blantyre, Zomba and Zuzu on Wednesday, denouncing interference with the judiciary after outgoing President Peter Mutharika sent the country's Chief Justice on early retirement a week before a historical presidential election rerun. Chief Justice Andrew Nyirenda had led the Supreme Court's decision to reject the appeal filed by President Mutharika after the Constitutional Court annulled his victory in the May 2019 election for fraud. The lawyers called for the separation of powers, denouncing pressure from the executive on the judiciary after President Mutharika's office issued a notice on Friday forcing Nyirenda to retire 18 months before he was due to leave.
We want to demand that the executive and other vile agents that seek to undermine our democracy should take their hands off the judiciary. Yes. May you take your hands off our judiciary. Yes. As indeed others have said, this is the same judiciary that you will need tomorrow when you are fallen from the high places you think you have. We strongly reject dictatorship. We strongly reject mediocrity. As Malawians, we want to move forward. We don't want to move backwards. We want a country that is progressive and not a country that is held by mediocre people.
As protests were underway on Wednesday, President Mutharika was busy campaigning with his supporters ahead of the presidential election rerun scheduled for the 23rd of June following the cancellation of last year's vote.
In 5 years,
if you give me another 5-year term, this country will develop to the level of South Africa or Singapore, London, America or Canada.
I want to tell Malawians that whatever has been happening in the country, such as violence, looting of shops and robberies, was encouraged by the opposition parties. President Peter Mutharika did not ask for revenge, and that is why I'm urging people to vote for Peter Arthur Mutharika because of his humility and calm.
President Mutharika, in power since 2014, will face his main opponent, Lazarus Chakwera, who overturned the results of the country's presidential elections last year in a landmark legal case. Ahead of the presidential election rerun scheduled for the 23rd of June, main opposition leader Lazarus Chakwera said on Wednesday in an interview with AFP that he is confident that next week's vote will be fair and set Malawi on a new democratic course.
This time around, we have more confidence that this election will be treated with the integrity it deserves because it expresses the will of Malawians. Malawians must be respected. Their rights must be respected. It is not a matter of who counts the vote. It should be a matter of every vote counting.
The opposition leader is also confident about his chances of victory after the Malawian justice ordered the holding of new elections and cancelled President Mutharika's victory last year over grave irregularities and fraud accusations.
I believe that we have been vindicated by the courts. It looks to me like the independence of the judiciary has really raised the bar for African elections. The people want change. They're demanding change. And they see us as the face of change. They see us as the face of a new Malawi that all of us can build together. And so we are extremely confident. I'm trusting that the Electoral Commission will make adequate provision so people can vote, that there would be sanitizers and there would be masks and they would observe the social distance. And I'm pretty sure that that's part of their preparation.
The opposition leader urged his fellow citizens to head to polls.
Go out there and vote. The change you've been looking for is around the corner. It will depend on your vote. And this is your biggest weapon to really give Malawi a new lease, and we can reset the developmental agenda of this nation and together build a new Malawi.
Malawi will hold its long-awaited presidential election rerun next Tuesday. In Mali, influential Imam Mahmoud Dicko urged people on Wednesday to massively protest on Friday, despite President Ibrahim Boubacar Keita's recent decision to start talks to form a unity government to ease political tensions.
May it please God, we surrender to Him the Almighty, Master of the heavens, omnipotent. May God assist us for the gathering this Friday in peace. Be it the gathering of gatherings. This Friday's gathering will be one of the biggest. They opposed all the people. That is the method, that is the governance that is underway to oppose people, to pit people against each other, to pit religions against each other. Same with the political parties, the communities, the ethnic groups. They want to pit everyone against one another. If you are close to them, they give you a little, and if you are against them, they pit you against someone else.
The opposition leader's call to demonstrate came after he accused President Keita of ignoring tens of thousands of people who took part in the massive protests of the 5th of June, demanding President Keita's departure over lack of government response to jihadist violence, poor governance, and fraud accusations. In Cameroon, the authorities announced on Wednesday that 24 separatists died in military raids led by the army in the Anglophone region. The army, which has been fighting separatists in the northwest of the country for nearly 3 years, have conducted 2 major operations in the region in recent days, according to General Valeanka, chief of military operations in the region. 13 separatists died in the first operation carried out in the localities of Bali, Batibo and Widikum at an unspecified date. According to the general, 11 others were killed in a second military raid launched against a separatist camp in the locality of Mbokam. In less than 3 years, the conflict between the Cameroonian army and the separatists in the northwest and southwest regions killed over 3,000 people and forced nearly 700,000 to flee their homes. In Ivory Coast, former President Laurent Gbagbo advocated for peaceful elections in 2020 and warned against electoral violence 4 months before the October presidential election, according to a statement issued by the spokesman for his political party, Justin Koné. Laurent Gbagbo asked members of the Ivorian Popular Front and its allies to carry this initiative for peaceful elections and to undertake in advance all the necessary steps needed towards political actors, leaders of the opinion of civil and religious society, as well as diplomatic representatives in the country to ensure reconciliation. The former president entrusted Masani Bamba, deputy president of the party and former member of parliament, to build a team of people from the country's major regions and across the political spectrum to carry this message of peace throughout the country. In Zimbabwe, the government has decided to award its workers a 50% salary increase effective immediately to help them face hardships caused by restrictive measures imposed to combat coronavirus. The Finance Ministry announced on Wednesday that all civil servants' salaries will be adjusted upwards by 50%. They will also receive a monthly non-taxable COVID-19 allowance of $75. The country has been struggling to pay over 300,000 civil servants who recently said they could no longer report for duty as they could no longer afford the daily commute to work. Finally, in Senegal, members of a local association called Nebede are planting dozens of trees in the Komigo-Yumbel district near the capital city Dakar to raise public awareness of the lack of greenery as part of World Day to combat desertification and drought celebrated on Wednesday. Their objective is to plant 1 million trees in the neighborhood.
There is an increasing decrease in rainfall. The trees also bring water. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that trees are useful, but we don't give ourselves the means to plant trees. As a result, with Operation 1 Million Trees and what we are doing in the neighborhood, we are introducing people to the importance of trees, the importance of greenery.
Greenery is important to people because, as I say, whoever respects the environment respects himself. So we are obliged to fight against desertification, to plant trees all over the city. Today, there are scientists who have proven that trees bring rain. Trees, they evapotranspire, they make the clouds, and trees are able to trigger precipitation in the clouds. So the more trees we have, the more rain we get. And the more you cut, the less rain you get. So they say the desert moves on. The desert doesn't move. It's the man who sets it up. So today things must change. Men must plant. We must all plant.
The Nebede Association has been working to save the environment for several years. In 2019, while its goal was to plant 600,000 trees, its teams managed to plant over 700,000. This year, despite the coronavirus pandemic, Nebede teams have been busy getting ready for the reforestation season and striving to achieve its target of planting 1 million trees. That's it for today. Thank you for watching Vox News.